surviving the guilt. Waking up overdue, he put on his slippers of remorse, dragging his heels down the shallow oaken staircase with a frequent death wish on the sleek crimson Porsche. Downstairs, on an ottoman tray, lay his breakfast, toast and avocado. Or were they cigarettes, the winsome pack of yesterday? No wonder he always smelled like tobacco. But with every spray of his stigma-scented perfume, the odor faded away. Was it the Jaguar Man classic regret, or the Hugo Boss penitence day? He wore black shield sunglasses to cover his bloodshot eyes, but the UV rays could never penetrate eyelids where sorrows bide. Though still hung over from yesterday's martini, he went to buy some shots. Could never stay sober for a night, the demons would eat him up. Tilted his head back and took his first shot. The burning liquor down his throat made the haunting voices wake up, whispering in his ears persistently, "It's your fault they were all shot. It's your fault you're still breathing. It's your fault they're all not." Consumed by these inner echoes, chipping at what's left of his soul, he was stuck in reverse, remorse, compassion, and his heart was sore from all the hurtful nouns that bore a hole in his chest. Our knight tumbled down, crestfallen, to the core. Crawling up to his head, they shaved his golden mane. Our man, once a lion, has now forgotten his name. And by his own hands he started carving the sympathy into guilt, the living into existing, the buoyant life into a routine. Was for so long trapped in a state of trance, a war of sin from which he couldn't retreat. During the mass shooting, fear swallowed our man's voice. Screams barged their way from his heart and got tangled in his throat, choking him, suffocating him more than nicotine ever did. It was by then he started smoking, to blur his lungs enough, thinking that by every cough the memory of the event would fade. But the tremors remained, especially the ones in his vocal cords. Believing their blood was on his hands, he tried cutting, and before everything went black, all he could see was red. He then woke up in a Johnny gown, in a hospital coloured white, and asked himself repeatedly,
"Why didn't I die then? Hell, why not now? Why the hell is life holding on to me? It seems to have some sort of vow that whenever I want to let go of her, she holds on even tighter. God, when will this nightmare be over? I have to blur these thoughts I'm having. Nurse, could you lend me a lighter?"
Little did he know, his fate wasn't his to decide. Little did he know he'd go on another dreadful tide, that life wouldn't be all ebbs, nor all merry-go-rounds, that even as dull as the moon in its first phases, one day the sun will rise, illuminating the dark shadows of his trauma, abolishing his guilt. He will finally live life to its fullest, with all his dreams fulfilled. The demons won't be sabotaging his paintings, they're all caged well in the back of his mind, behind the solid walls he himself built. Dear demons, sorrows no longer bide, for this is the story where the shades of the palette get brighter. Our man is the art as well as the artist, and for the first time in so long, he won't be needing that lighter. "90% of people who had survived an event where others had died are reported of experiencing guilt, shame, and depression, blaming themselves for what had happened, questioning their existence, wondering why they didn't die too, getting hit by painful flashbacks of the traumatic event, and sometimes being led to suicide. The only way for people with survivor's guilt to survive is by following these guidelines, which we summed up in 3 points. 1. Acceptance. Accepting what had happened, accepting that they haven't escaped death, that it just wasn't their time yet, and accepting the fact that it was never their fault. 2. Reaching out. Reaching out to therapists, connecting with others, speaking about what had happened with detail for one last time to be able to let go and move on peacefully. Hopefully, it will no longer burden them and make them feel bad for surviving. 3. Doing good. And by doing good, they need to do good for themselves by doing good for others. Donating, volunteering, and educating people about their experience. All these acts will help them get over it completely, and soon the feeling of guilt will fade away. 080088800700 is the Egyptian Ministry of Health's hotline for mental health and support services. Save it for good causes. It may one day be useful to you or someone you know.